This is not about what just happened. It is about the catastrophic chain reaction that is about to hit our favorite characters from July 20th to the 31st. Let us take a quick look at the current board to understand exactly where the pieces are positioned. Valentine Cassadine currently has his hands on a mysterious black box, claiming to Carly Spencer that he wants to sell it to the WSB, and she is blindly trusting him. Meanwhile, Jack Brennan and Nina Reeves are desperately hunting for that exact same briefcase. Jason Morgan is finally back in town, but he is a profoundly changed man, ready to walk away from Sonny Corinthos' mob organization to prioritize his son, Danny. Lulu Spencer holds the explosive secret that Rocco Falconeri is the one who actually shot Ross Cullum, and she is preparing to drop that bomb on Sonny. At the PCPD, Anna Devane is reclaiming the police chief desk, forcing Dante Falconeri to step down, while Harrison Chase is stepping up as a newly minted detective. The pieces are all in position, guys, and the game is about to get incredibly dangerous. This could lead to our first major future scenario, one where Valentine Cassadine is playing the most dangerous, high-stakes game of his entire life. If you look at his trajectory and his history of deception, there is a massive chance that Valentine is not being entirely truthful with Carly. On the surface, he tells her he wants to hand Cullum's black box over to the WSB for a massive financial payout. But what if he is hiding his true, far more sinister endgame? If that black box contains intelligence capable of toppling powerful syndicates, exposing WSB off-book operations, or blackmailing global players, Valentine could absolutely be planning to keep those crucial secrets for himself. He thrives on leverage and control. If he successfully decodes the mysteries inside that box, he instantly becomes the most dangerous and powerful man in Port Charles, effectively replacing the threat that Cullum posed. The bigger consequence may be the violent, inevitable collision course Valentine is on with Jack Brennan and Nina Reeves. Looking ahead, Brennan and Nina are going to hunt for that black box at all costs, utilizing Brennan's tactical WSB skills and Nina's relentless determination. And here is where the dynamic gets wildly unpredictable. Amidst this high-stakes, life-or-death treasure hunt, the undeniable magnetic pull between Brennan and Nina is only going to grow stronger. They simply cannot resist each other, finding solace and adrenaline in their shared mission. But what happens next may be an absolute disaster if Willow Kane accidentally walks in on their intimate, passionate moment. Willow catching them in a compromising position would not just be an awkward family encounter. It would ignite a brand new chain of misunderstandings, paranoia, and conflict. Willow is already spiraling under the pressure of her own secrets, and having this kind of leverage over Nina could push her into incredibly manipulative territory. But let us push this future even further into the realm of danger. There is a chance that Brennan and Nina, driven by pure desperation to secure the leverage they need, finally track the black box down to Valentine's location. I find myself wondering if they would actually be willing to cross the ultimate line and physically attack Valentine to take it by force. If they ambush a Cassadine, the fallout would be absolutely nuclear. Could Brennan and Nina actually get away with a violent robbery, or would this drag them into a legal nightmare that not even a top-tier lawyer could fix? If they pull this off, they gain ultimate power and the blackmail material they desperately need, but they also paint massive, inescapable targets on their own backs. Valentine is not a man who forgives, and his retaliation would be swift and brutal. And while all of this espionage and betrayal is happening, Brick is moving silently in the shadows. Sonny Corinthos has specifically tasked him with digging up the darkest, most damaging dirt on Valentine to sabotage his romance with Carly. When Brick inevitably uncovers Valentine's true, treacherous intentions regarding the black box and his underlying network of lies, Carly is going to have her world completely shattered. She will be forced to look at the man she trusted, the man she defended against her own family, with a completely different, horrified perspective. The betrayal will cut unimaginably deep. Carly has a tragic history of trusting dangerous men who ultimately let her down, and discovering that Valentine was playing her all along might push Carly right back into the darker, more ruthless, and vindictive version of herself. Now, let us pivot to a completely different future, one that fundamentally changes the entire power dynamic and history of Port Charles. What if Jason Morgan's highly anticipated return does not stabilize Sonny's territory, but actually fractures it beyond repair? Jason is going to meet with his loved ones, and his primary message is shockingly clear. Danny comes first, and the mob life is officially over. The story could be heading toward a profound, heartbreaking shift in Sonny and Jason's lifelong brotherhood. Sonny demands absolute loyalty and usually views leaving the organization as a betrayal, but how can he possibly punish or resent Jason when Jason literally sacrificed his own freedom and endured WSB captivity to cover up for Rocco shooting Ross Cullum? Jason's departure will leave a massive, gaping vacuum in Sonny's organization, forcing Sonny to navigate the treacherous underworld without his most trusted enforcer. This vulnerability ties directly into Lulu's impending explosive confession. When Lulu reveals to Sonny that his own nephew, Rocco, was the one who actually pulled the trigger on Cullum, Sonny's fierce protective instincts are going to go into overdrive. But this secret is a ticking time bomb that threatens to destroy multiple lives. The immense pressure of hiding a WSB-level crime to protect a teenager will weigh heavily on the entire Corinthos and Falconeri family. Sonny will have to make agonizing, impossible decisions to keep Rocco out of a federal prison while simultaneously managing the threats to his own empire. If Jason steps back to focus on Danny, Sonny is left defending his family and his territory completely alone, making him more isolated and vulnerable than we have seen in decades. Simultaneously, this increasingly vulnerable mob boss is going to face a completely revitalized, highly aggressive PCPD. Anna Devane's return to the police chief's desk is going to send immediate shockwaves through the station. Dante stepping down from the leadership role is going to be a bitter pill to swallow, but it paves the way for a dynamic new era of law enforcement. Harrison Chase getting the opportunity to return to the force as a detective is exactly the kind of righteous, relentless energy the PCPD desperately needs right now. With Port Charles drowning in unsolved mysteries, corporate espionage, and dangerous secrets, Anna and Chase are going to form an unstoppable investigative duo. If they start poking around the Spoon Island cover-up, the missing cold fusion data, or the mysterious black box, Sonny, Valentine, and even Brennan are all going to feel the intense heat of the law closing in on them. But guys, we have to look at the third future. The most unexpected, quietly devastating possibility that is currently brewing in the background. I am talking about the intense psychological warfare escalating between Elizabeth Baldwin and Willow Kane. On the surface, it looks like a simple medical disagreement over patient care. Elizabeth wants Drew Kane to actively expand his communication skills to aid his physical and mental recovery, acting out of pure, dedicated nursing ethics. But Willow is absolutely terrified. Willow does not want Drew regaining control of his life or his voice, because a communicating Drew is a highly dangerous Drew for her hidden secrets. This simmering, quiet conflict in the hospital corridors is going to become one of the most impactful, devastating rivalries on the canvas. Willow is rapidly stepping into her dark, villainous era, echoing the manipulative tactics of Nell Benson, and Elizabeth might be the only person with the insight and courage to finally expose her. And speaking of unexpected, highly emotional turns, let us talk about the explosive dynamic between Britt Westbourne and the newly arrived doctor, Tristan Roberts. Their relationship is incredibly tense, combative, and antagonistic right now, but I would not rule out the writers pulling a massive, deeply satisfying bait and switch. This bitter professional rivalry could easily erupt into a highly emotional, passionate romance. Britt is reeling from the shock of learning her Huntington's disease diagnosis was a cruel lie, and Tristan's challenging, arrogant demeanor might be exactly the kind of spark she needs to move past her trauma and embrace life again. I am also deeply curious about Jason's next move regarding Britt. Will he actively seek her out to rekindle what they lost, or will he intentionally avoid her to protect his new peaceful life with Danny? If Jason and Britt do cross paths, given everything they have survived and the immense grief they have carried, it could easily be the most emotionally shattering, poignant reunion of the entire month. We also have to look at the brief, fleeting moments of light before the impending storm. Curtis Ashford and Portia Robinson are going to share a beautiful, rare moment of pure happiness as they bond with their newborn baby boy. It is a desperately needed breath of fresh air for a couple that has endured so much conflict. But in Port Charles, peace is always just the calm before the hurricane. I have a strong feeling that this domestic happiness will not last, as the external pressures of Curtis's legal troubles and Portia's lingering anxieties will inevitably shatter their fragile sanctuary. Furthermore, the newcomers arriving in town are about to shake the very foundations of the city. Serena Baldwin is stepping directly into the corporate bloodbath at Deception to assist Lucy Coe, which will undoubtedly cause a massive power struggle and corporate chaos. And Scout's highly anticipated return as a teenager, played by the talented Kaden Brenna Tokarski, is going to bring a tidal wave of teen angst, rebellion, and drama that will completely overwhelm Danny, Drew, Willow, and Alexis Davis. And then there is the wild card. Hudson, this mysterious, highly connected businessman, is arriving in town specifically looking for a certain person. If my theory is correct, Hudson is hiding a purpose much larger and much darker than anything he is currently projecting. He could be deeply tied to the WSB's corrupt factions, to Cullum's missing black box, or even to the lingering, deadly threat of the Pikeman organization. His arrival is absolutely not a coincidence. It is the final, most dangerous piece of a massive puzzle we haven't even fully seen yet. Hudson's presence guarantees that the danger in Port Charles is far from over. If you ask me, the path that feels most likely is that all of these seemingly separate, disparate storylines are actually intricately tethered to the exact same explosive core. I keep coming back to the idea that Valentine's black box is the ultimate gravity well, slowly pulling every single major player into its orbit. It makes perfect, terrifying sense that Brennan, Nina, Carly, and Sunny will all end up warring over those hidden secrets. The show is meticulously positioning Jason to become the stable moral center outside the mob's reach, while Valentine attempts to step into the massive vacuum of power left behind. My personal perspective is that Carly's impending, devastating heartbreak over Valentine's lies will be the ultimate catalyst. It will force her to team up with Brennan and Nina, creating an unstoppable, ruthless alliance that no one, not even a seasoned tactician like Sonny Corinthos, saw coming. But we cannot just stop at the immediate fallout of these events. If that scenario happens, what comes after? The next shockwave is going to be absolutely monumental. If Valentine secures the immense power of the black box and Brennan and Carly form an alliance to tear him down, Port Charles will be violently split into entirely new, unpredictable factions. The future continues to expand, guys. We are looking at a potential reality where the newly empowered PCPD, fiercely led by Anna and Chase, has to navigate a city run by warring international intelligence operatives rather than traditional, old-school mobsters. The secrets locked inside that box will not just destroy romantic relationships, they will rewrite the entire criminal and corporate hierarchy of General Hospital. The future is wide open, the stakes have never been higher, and the danger is only just beginning.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.